so fast that by the time people realize what your nickname is, you've already moved on past it.
Okay.
That's where James is at right now. We're like, he started as a real estate agent. And he's just exploded to the point now where like he even says himself, he says, selling houses, like that's easy. Like I want you guys to start thinking big term. Start thinking about creating a team. Start thinking about automating more and doing more of that.
What are we doing?
So where are you at now? You creating a team right now?
Me personally,
I know you sent me to one loan officer. You didn't really favor them much.
No, I did not. So my thing is, here's where I'm at. So 8 months ago when I started, I was receiving a lot of
feedback.
Bad advice really is what it is.
Okay.
The people. I live in Warrenville, and my office is out of Wheaton.
Okay.
And what I've noticed is that there were agents who have been agents. Well, there's really two. That's all right.
I suck right now.
I'm gonna do that all the time.
It's all right. It's all right. It's the liquor. We're here for the liquor.
I was gonna say.
Hey, when you get something in you, it's gonna loosen you up a little bit.
A little bit too much.
Well, you guys need any help? Let me know. My name's Ryan. I'm one of the managers.
You the man, Ryan?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Appreciate
it, brother. I'm gonna go one more. We're gonna do what?
You can just do like 5.
We're gonna do 3 and 3. Is that cool?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
We'll just switch off.
So basically, I was receiving a lot of old traditional advice that I don't think. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not that it doesn't work, but
Like what type of?
like door knocking, cold calling. Nice.
Yeah, next time we going on 18.
Say again.
18 holes.
18.
It's a little bit better.
Dude, like I said, I'm actually awful. I think I used the big dog just because
Whack. My man.
But I don't know. I just felt like I
After you get off.
I just felt like I received a lot of like just bogus advice, not bogus advice, but just advice that I mean it
Like
worked.
outdated.
Exactly, it worked 10 years ago, but it's not going to work anymore. Not saying that it's not going to work anymore, but there's just other better ways to do it. And to be quite honest, there's one time in particular, not one time, but I worked for this woman who was doing a rental, right?
Woo! You got a nice swing there for a beginner now.
Yeah, but it'll go straight up. I mean, I'll be lucky if I.
You caught most of it.
Yeah, I don't golf, and I don't know if you remember, but I played hockey for like 20 years.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So golf and hockey are similar and different. I haven't golfed enough to see. It's still.
Yeah, you're like.
I gotta figure it out. I just learned about the whole keeping this arm straight.
Yeah, keep your arm straight.
But then bend at the elbow. That's the weird part. Yeah. That's the part I still have issues with. Woo!
There you go.
Anyways, there was one time I was working with this agent. She was working a rental, and I don't know why I'm trying to do this right now. She was working a rental, and she asked me if I wanted to follow up with all the leads. Within 2 days, I had like 50 leads that I couldn't even keep up with. 50 people for me to contact that had direct interest in a unit that she wanted to sell. So there's 50 people that need help right now. They're looking for places to live right now.
Yeah.
And so what I realized is when she started handing me all these leads, I followed up. I kept following up with, I kind of went down the line. I followed up with the first 10, and then when I got responses from people, I think 3 of them were I'm looking for a place. Can you help me? And of course, I'm yeah, absolutely. I want to help. But that takes time out of my day then, right? So then I start thinking, well, what if I could get a hold of the other 37 people? What if what if I was able to take advantage of helping all of them and then using a referral-based system or a referral-based system to like basically get them help and to collect something on it, you know, for being able to do that. And so what I realized, we do 3. Oh, son of a bitch. I just did them on.
You
Go ahead.
did them on?
Yeah.
It's all right.
Here you go. Go ahead and just
I'll
hit
feel
right.
some of yours.
Yeah. Just do your 3 on mine. It's no biggie. Wait, which drink is yours? This one yours?
You can take the farther one.
This one?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, long story short, I'm at the point now where, like, just like a couple weeks ago was when I was introduced to James, and he has, like, this, he just speaks in terms of automation.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest things that I know, like, just from having an IT understanding is that, like, you can collect as many leads as you want, but if you don't have a place to direct them that is efficient, then as soon as somebody lands on, you know, what they refer to as your landing page,
Yep.
if it doesn't look good, then nobody's gonna.
Or convenient, like clickable.
Exactly, right?
People like convenience.
So that's exactly right, and people are willing to pay. Nice. Oh yeah, you've been here before.
I know how to golf. I'm just fat. You know, my fat gets in the way. You know, and I gotta move it around.
Yeah. So I'm at the point now where it's funny because me and my marketing. So out of Berkshire, we have like a marketing guru there who sort of, you know, she helps us out with all this.
Yep.
And I was talking to her about, you know, my website and kind of what I'm looking to do. And I found a couple templates of websites that I really like. But I'm at the point now where I don't think the tools I get from Berkshire Hathaway can do what I want them to do in this instance. So I'm actually in this like limbo where, do you remember Mike Martire from TF South?
What do he look like? Dark hair, big guy.
I'll pull him.
Is he in real estate too?
No. He actually, it's funny. So he actually started in WordPress,
Okay.
and now he's in. They've like expanded their services past WordPress and into like website building. Now that was a crack. That was yeah. Oh. Close. Let me see if I can pull up Mike's Instagram. If you want to go ahead and. Hey, amazing shot, dude. Thank you.
It's a liquor. Stop me. This is pure, like, look.
Yeah, so this is Martire. Now, mind you, I'm going to pull up one of the first pictures of him. I mean, look at his Instagram. He is busy. It's high school.
Yeah, people change a lot, you know. You still kind of, you just got tall as shit.
Yeah, I mean.
People like are like huge, you know. Like I got huge before. I was was I fat? Was I fat in middle school? I probably was. Because when I went to TF South,
I think so. I remember you being a bigger dude, but not like fat.
Yeah, I used to do like wrestling and stuff like that, and I used to like, you know, bad time at home, so I used to just work out like crazy. And then I got to college and I started playing rugby and going to fraternity. Yeah, man. Going to fraternity. And then women, you know, and they would cook for me all. Seriously. I should be saying this on live. Whatever. But women cook for me all the time, you know.
Yeah, I'm just relying on a brokerage to give me something. You know what I mean? Like the analytics that it allows me to track is nowhere near.
I think with the feel of the year in this relationship, you know, with me, like, you know, with my, you know, accounting firm and stuff like that, I got people always looking for housing and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you know, I have somebody in my
Dude,
network.
and actually, oh my gosh, this is insane. I'm so happy that we're having this conversation too, because so one of the things becoming a real estate agent, one of the first, we call them brokers tours, but essentially they were, the brokers tours are just tours that agents invite only other agents to because they think it might be good for clientele, plus to introduce new agents, X, Y, Z, whatever. One of the very first agents I met, her name was Laura. That was a crap. How far did that one go?
Did you see that?
That was
Come on, man. Come on.
185
In the back.
yards.
In the back. It felt like 200 or something.
That was like
I'll
crazy.
do one more.
Yeah, man. No, you're good. good. Anyways, there's some. It's funny because one of the first agents I met, her name's Laura. She was in charge, or not that she was in charge, but she held a board position on the Women's Council of Realtors.
Okay.
Essentially, is just an organization, kind of like doing what it sounds. I mean, it's an organization that you might actually. Oh,
Fuck it, I don't want to look at that.
Wait.
It's depressing.
Hey, at least it made it into the ground. I
It's
mean,
depressing.
you got it in the outer circle of the orange flag, or.
Yeah. You can go, you can go.
Yeah. So now we're still on mine. But anyways, sponsor. There's a point in getting our sponsorship today. We're actually looking for sponsors for the Women's Council of Realtors, where every month. Now, what's crazy is that as of recently, we had some changes in board positions, where like I was. Laura, who's basically she's just helped me, like another resource for me since I was new. She was always willing to answer questions. She's just been fantastic, and so she was part of the board. And so essentially, how the WCR works is you can't hold a position for 2 years, right? You can only hold this position. So essentially, it kind of forces a push up.
Yeah.
Exactly, right? So this year, or I should say next year, I was actually going to go for like a secretary position starting in November, because that's kind of when the new year reshuffles. But they just had a handful of board members step down, and so they actually put me. Now I'm going to be program director, and so I'm going to be basically charging their social medias, making sure like events. And one of the big things I want to do, which I think is going to work both ways, both for me, the Women's Council, and then for hopefully the sponsors that I find, because with my mentality and how I kind of alluded to, like, I don't want to do the same things that real estate agents have been doing in the past, right? I mean, check this out, and you've got your camera going, so I can't show you, but this you need to definitely invest in one of these and check one of those out. That is what we refer to that. That's an oval card. And what it does is if you were to tap that on your phone, or here, we'll just do it on my phone real quick. So you have your phone unlocked. Go ahead and just tap that end on the back of my phone. Okay, we'll do it like this. Let's see what happens here. So you have to give it a second because I just got a notification. I'm going to do this. Click that link. You can save my contact information, you can connect, you can see all my social media, and from here when you do hit save contact, you click OK. Now it actually will import all of that information directly into your phone.
Yeah.
So this is just one of the ways that I'm trying to show how I'm different, right?
Yeah.
And so I actually have some really cool and big ideas for when it comes to the WCR, when it comes to trying to get more sponsors. I want to, I feel like if people, like me personally, I feel like I can use the WCR, not as like a cloak, but like I'm working for something that's bigger now than just Dave Curley, which, when I think about it, that was why I joined the Marine Corps. I truly believe, people ask me all the time, like, why did you join the Marine Corps? I don't know. Like, I didn't have a reason. I was the first.
Badass.
I was the first.
This guy's a freaking badass. Don't let him fool you.
Not a dude, no. It's just one of those things, like, it just didn't go away, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is how I know I'm going to pull my back with this, because I'm all just...
You like down here with
I'm all doing some weird stuff. But like, so yeah, so that's my, like, I know that I don't know, big things are coming when it comes to,
So you're expanding your reach, through, connection, and getting more, positions on like board, like you were saying.
just getting more visibility, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is this is how over the last 8 months, all of that like archaic advice, like I get it, it's great advice, but like with COVID and with how everything's gone down, there's a really weird dynamic change, right? If you were to survey everybody in here and say, hey, how likely are you to engage with somebody who just knocks on your door randomly? I guarantee a lot of people are going to be like, no, I don't even, like I don't like that. Yeah, because everybody's getting any information that you need or want, you get from this thing. so like why does the real estate any different? And so like I've created a TikTok. I've fully embraced that. You know, I do want to
start doing those open houses on live and stuff.
So like
which lets people see what the actual house looks like.
One of the ideas that I've recently, I didn't create it. I can't take credit for creating the idea. But one of the recent ideas that I've adapted is essentially I got to figure out how to
take your time and read through it. It's like an exit. Like you come back and you unwind like.
Okay.
Exit.
I felt
it
more
felt
power.
good, but you just gotta get a clear hit on the ball.
Exactly. You just gotta hit the ball. All right, I'm gonna go more, and then we'll swap it here. So anyways, but I want to get to this point. So this is super cool. James, again, same guy referred to it. It's like mind-boggling, like how some ideas people are just willing to like pass up and not even like give any thought to. Because James said this idea in front of like hundreds of real estate agents, and I've never seen one do it. But essentially, what I did, I created a Google Drive, and I made a quick video of me in the open house. In the kitchen, right? So I'm like making a video. I, on site, printed out a QR code, stuck it on the cabinet. So then as people are touring the open house, they come up to and see this QR code, they scan the QR code, and they're instantly brought to a video where it's me talking about the features of the kitchen that they're standing in. All on site. Nobody's doing that. And honestly, how I did it isn't even anything crazy. It just takes a portable printer. Like, that's it. And it's, like I said,
do you make most of your commissions off of, like, does it matter what type of, like, financing they get? If it's an FHA versus, like, a conventional loan,
so
you try to make this matter?
I don't, yeah, to me, that the way in which you finance does not matter to me at all. Yeah.
So that's what I'm planning on doing, is big broadcasting and bringing my network to people that know me through FHA loans. Because, they don't have like a lot of money, down and they have the business credit score and work history. It's pretty easy to get into like, housing market.
One thing I want to start doing, I actually just had a conversation with a gentleman today who's going through a divorce. I told him like what I wanted to start doing is actually, I didn't tell him this, but I thought about this after our conversation. I want to start looking into getting into the market of the multifamily in this area.
Oh yeah.
As far as from a real estate perspective, had I known in my 20s what a house hack was, had I known,
right? If we would have taught that in school, it would have been so much better.
We would have been in a completely different, what I mean? We probably wouldn't be eating wings right now. We'd be eating like some hors d'oeuvres, goat cheese and watermelon, you know what I mean? Some whatever.
Some fancy stuff.
Actually, I don't know. I think it was one of the Kardashians that said that they had never they'd never eaten any cereal.
Like regular cereal.
Yeah, just regular cereal. It's like I've never eaten cereal, and I think to myself like, I don't know if I should be happy for you or sad for you. You know what I mean? I mean, cereal is super fattening. Don't get me wrong.
It's like a staple of those in your life.
So good.
You gotta eat like Apple Jacks and Cheerios.
Yeah.
And I try to stay away from it now, but my son is in the house, so he needs a quick breakfast, and it's easy to get cereal for that. But then sometimes I dabble in it, and I'm like, I need a quick,
Dude,
the Cinnamon Toast Crunch is kind of like addictive.
Julie had to buy. She had to buy 2 boxes of cereal last time she went to the store because my box of cereal goes in like 2 days.
You get like a big bowl and a big spoon.
Big bowl.
You say skinny.
Big bowl because I do it like once a month maybe. You know what I mean? Where like that bowl of cereal, if it comes in the house, like here's the thing, if it comes in the house, it's getting destroyed. Like I just can't. I have to keep it out of the house. You know what I mean? And once I learned that, I feel like that's how I was able to. I mean, I told Jules because she loves to cook. But it was just one of those things where it's like, I can only now eat when I'm hungry. I tell myself I only eat when I'm hungry. And stopped trying to, I stopped trying to buy all the sugary snacks, right? It's
No
not even,
sugar. No
it's not
sugar,
even
man.
about eating super crazy healthy.
It's just the sugar.
It's just about stop, being just more mindful. Like obviously this stuff isn't the best for me, but it should taste good. So I'm not gonna deny my life. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna try to kill myself. But like I feel like it just takes a little bit more mindfulness. That's all. You know what I mean? To be like, you know what? And honestly, I'm not carrying it with me right now, but I have this big ass jug of water.
Excuse me.
Oh,
Can you tell our servers, can we get like napkins and some plates for like
I can
bones?
get you napkins.
For like bones and stuff?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I was gonna say, wait a second.
We don't want to put it on the table, you know.
Yeah. Smart. But yeah, so that's kind of like where my thought process is, as far as like, honestly, I haven't even like thought like it's fun, like since I got out of the Marine Corps in October of last year.
You think being a real estate agent has like advanced you? Does it make you a lot of money, or does it kind of comes and goes when like ebbs and flows, up and down?
So, I mean, the first year, I'll be honest, like I've learned a lot of the first year,
Okay.
and there's like some pros and cons to it.
You can probably give me those.
Thank you so much. Let's do all these. It's one of those things where like coulda, woulda, shoulda. I'll say that it's good, man. It looks good.
Perfect.
It tastes good.
Thank you.
Versions of their food, but during, I want to say it was a handful of years ago, but like there was a breach at Mars, and it caused their old ass factories, because they were still running off of like Windows 98. It caused their factories to have to be shut down for like a while. Well, I say a while, but it was like 6 months. That like basically their system was like locked up and they couldn't work with it. Yeah. But Mars in general makes a lot of money and multiple
money.
Yeah. So I actually worked for their food. I worked in their food department, like where they make Uncle Ben's rice, for example. They had since had a couple different smaller companies sort of like sprout up that they acquired.
Subsidiaries.
But after I worked there, I went for TransUnion, actually. I worked in TransUnion's data center right across the street from Union Station. Both jobs were good. I was making 67 and then 74 respectively at both places, and it was one of those, what happened at, so for me at TransUnion, I went from being working for Mars. I was like the front-facing IT guy. I decided to make the move to work in their data center, in TransUnion's data center. Now I'm their back end, sort of their data center. I don't want to say
you not
analyst,
like kind of
planner.
kept those jobs while you like transitioned to real estate, or you had to like let go?
So yes and no. I had to let go, and here's why. Because when I was at TransUnion, that was when I had first moved. So I moved out here. I was driving to TransUnion. Luckily, I was able to work inside of I was able to park under the building. So like taking the public train system wasn't really an issue. But not that I really care about that, but to be honest, there was a couple times where I had to start at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And I was working until about 10 o'clock at night. Like that was like my hours. So you can imagine when I would take the public train system, I had to get on my train at 12:30 just to make it to work by 2. When I got off work at 10 o'clock, I'd be hopping on the 10:15, and I wouldn't be getting home, or I wouldn't at least be getting to my station until about 10:45. And so
The grind, man.
right?
Kick your ass.
So not only that, but like I just moved to a new area. I moved away from all my friends because I moved away. And so after college, I
Were you
ended up-
friends with mostly people from middle school, high school? You're
Honestly,
like the first person I've talked to from middle school.
honestly,
Like you and probably, yeah, you're probably the only one.
So honestly, so some of them I keep, Chris
Contact
Rager. I still talk to Chris every so often.
Okay.
He lives in Michigan, but he's doing awesome.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
My memory,
Rager?
because of lead, man. My memory is fucked up.
Oh, your memory is.
Yeah, my memory. So these people you talk of them.
Oh, you probably know him. Well, Chris was the one that lived right, literally, you remember Coolidge, right? That alley we used to cross? He was the one that lived, like his grandma had that big ass pine tree in the front yard.
This guy has some freaking memory.
Hell yeah. Well, Chris has like been my
A
homie
pine
since like,
tree. Yeah.
I mean, Chris has been he was like, when I moved to Lansing, there was this dude named Billy Hurley.
I remember that name.
So Billy Hurley was like my first, I wouldn't say he's my first friend, but yeah, and then something happened where he moved away somewhere. Honestly, I can't remember, but he became like one of those, I don't know, like early, like SoCal dudes, like he'd wear like seashells and all that type of,
Like a beach, guy.
like a
surfer
beach dude,
guy.
yes. And so, Chris, he was basically my second friend, or first from, and he lived right across the street from Coolidge. His grandma would actually be the one that would drive Chris and I to school all the time. Anyways, I talked to him. There's a handful of people that like I still am in contact with, but here's the thing: it's like once I moved out here initially, like 4 years ago, I was initially upset because I felt like I was losing a lot of like my friends because when I lived in Highland beforehand, Indiana, and so this is where I lived after I graduated. Julie and I, we obviously met. We were dating. She lived out here in her home. I lived in my home in Highland, and I was initially upset. But what I've realized recently is that all of the people that I still am willing to talk to from back in that area.
Some people, man.
You have to say it like that.
I mean, yeah. Some of these people were like super popular, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm popular now. They got in jail or got kids.
Man,
I have kids.
I've had,
that whole thing of high school, you got to be this is bullshit.
So I didn't go to I didn't go to the 10-year reunion or whatever we had, or the 5-year reunion.
So the thing with me, since I got held back, they get confused. I think they invited me, but I was like, no, I'm in the class after you. I'm in a different class.
Okay.
So I think they didn't, they invited me. I think it was Dana Clausen. Yeah, she invited me, and I was like, no.
How did you go? Who cares?
I'm not.
I mean,
I should have went, but
honestly, well, here's the thing. I didn't go because I'll see you in 20 years. Because that's when it matters. I think the 10-year reunion. I mean, first of all, it's high school. Not only are we like not taught shit. Like when you think about it, like now that we're an adult, how much did high school really teach you?
shit.
Right? So not only do we have to we start from here, we already don't know shit. Like we already we think we know shit, we don't know shit.
Yeah.
That first 10 years is like us realizing that we don't know shit and then trying to learn shit.
I think
The next 10 years is what you do with that knowledge and what you're willing. When people were asking me, like, are you going to go to the 10-year? No, I'm not. Because it's just going to be a pissing competition. It's just going to be who's sitting on top of the mountain with whatever, with wherever they're at. And I get it. It's good. It's a good thing. But, but for me personally, I was like, you know what? Because of that reason, right? I'll never forget going to, I'm not going to name drop because we're live, but I'll never forget.
fuck those people. I'm gonna die one day, so I don't give a fuck. I'll say it like it is. I don't care.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing we learned from high school. Judgment doesn't fucking matter.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
We put so much emphasis on where I wear these clothes or I'll act like this.
Yeah.
This is gonna matter. None of that shit matters until you really get that, that feeling of like, this is who I am and this is the life that I'm gonna have for myself.
And it's like, I think there is like a clear statement where you have to make where if you want better, then go out and get better.
Yeah.
And cause for me, Like this is like it's funny because like we sit here and say that and, like I've only recently found a love for these shirts, like these like button-ups.
Breathable.
Well, what's funny is that like this shirt in particular, Julie's brother gave me this shirt like 2 years ago, but I couldn't fit into it. And sure as shit, it was like I have 3 of these shirts that I bought from Old Navy like 2 years ago. And I mean, right there it goes to tell you, like I do not put high quality. Like I don't. Prior, I just don't.
I shop at Walmart. You tell me?
So here's the reason.
I wear dry fit. I like dry fit shit that feels comfortable.
Exactly. It's just I just don't care. Exactly. So like, it's just funny because like, I'll never forget when I saw those popular kids at Kilroy's for the first time after, and they were looking at me like my high school experience is very interesting. I mean, I told you I played hockey, but like. I was getting pulled out of high school. Like, I was getting pulled out of my classes probably every other week.
Why didn't you do that much?
Nobody did.
I thought you went to a different school or something.
Hockey. It was literally. I don't want to say I was so good, but like I was getting pulled because I was on the travel team and like we traveled all over the place, whether it was Michigan, Pennsylvania, Colorado. I mean, I unfortunately I could say I've been all over the U.S., but I didn't really get to experience any of it because I was a little kid playing hockey, right? But it was just so funny, like seeing these once popular kids, and now they're like looking at me like, oh shit, how you been, man? Like you care now? Why? Because nobody's like gawking at you. Like you didn't care for a second who I was back in high school. So why is it all of a sudden you see me now and like
they have a different like approach?
Yeah, well, it's not even a different approach. I mean, like I get it, but it's like when you tell me the reason why you got kicked out of college or you dropped out because of X, Y, Z. And it's the same thing that you were known for back in high school. Yeah. It's like I just have zero desire to engage with you.
Yeah.
Like what? Because you're clearly the same person, and I don't. Like I said, it's actually only been as of recently where I'm like, you know what? Like I gotta start talking about like big kid shit, adult shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that point differs between a lot of different people.
Oh yeah.
Some people get it really early. Some people don't get it until much later. Some people don't get it at all.
Yeah. And I think it's good. You have to find those people who are aligned with you and your purpose, mission, vision.
Exactly.
In this life, and who are go-getters. Which I believe you're a go-getter. Like from talking to you and catching up with you, you're about it. You know. And you're a go-getter.
I feel like it's the same. I mean, it's the same as reciprocated, right? Like I don't need to know like where you came from to understand that like you want more.
Oh yeah.
And like at the end of the day, like that's like okay, so you want more. How much are you willing to get more? And like that's where like I'm trying to. Not only discover how far am I mean, don't get me wrong.
You
like,
are discovering.
I push myself past, people want to say like, oh, the Marine Corps is like, nothing, it's nothing harder. Like, sure, you can sign it up and it's 3 months. It's god awful.
I bet.
But
my brother went to the Navy. You remember Lance? I don't know if
yeah.
He went to the Navy
Really?
and fucked up. I mean, he got married and some tell him all his business. I don't care. He got married and stuff, and she cheated on him. Had a kid with another Navy guy. He dropped out of there. He hit me up like, hey man, do my taxes for free, man. I know you got it. I know you got real estate. I know you own real estate. Give me some money. Give me some money. You got a handout, And it's like, come on, man. Like I'm building my legacy.
Like my
family.
I would love to help. I would love to help anybody, but the thing is like with me, because I know that I'm only receptive to information from people who are doing it. Like, don't tell me that like in order to lose 30 pounds, I need to, do X, Y, and Z when you're not doing it yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's that mentality that I've realized, like, you know what, I need to surround myself with the people that I want with the people that I want to be like and be around, and it's it's one of those things where it's over the last year it's been, I'll just say it's been more uncomfortable than I'd be willing to admit.
That's good.
About letting go of some relationships in pursuit of other relationships, because that at the end of the day, that's what is ultimately going to bring you closer to where you want to go. And then the way I see it is once I get there, and once I'm able to have a foolproof system, then I start bringing up those I want around me. You know what I mean? Then I'm like,
can, but you know,
I'm not saying,
again, they're the and I tried. Their brain, it's just different. You know,
You have to
always have to be humble, right? You have to be humble and be like, oh, you know, I'm not better than you, but I know better.
Well,
you know, and I put myself in a position to try.
When you lead
but
by
then
example,
when you come back to those type of people, they can put you in some shit
oh,
that you don't necessarily want to be in.
family. I mean, and that's the thing is, you hear the story, right? Never loan money to family, because that's just like money it's just assumed to be gone because
they don't seem to pay it back.
there's a mentality between family members where like you just assume that like you're fine if you don't pay it back because why? It's not a bank. Because the bank will come kicking down your door. Because guess what? I will actually come kick down your door. Like I know where you live. But I mean, my thing is like it goes back to like when you lead, in the Marine Corps, right? You lead by example. You lead by showing others how to do it, and then those who are interested are going to see you and be like, oh, this is how he's doing it. And then if you have questions. One of the biggest things that I've realized is that when I ask questions to those who are already doing what I want to do, none of them have ever given me the answers. They've only ever like ushered me in the direction. Because, and what I've realized is now that I am in a position where like other people are coming to me for advice, I do the same thing. Because that is how you wean out the strong from the weak.
You've been reading.
Well, yeah. It's just one of those like.
That's good, yeah.
Because the thing is you don't want to waste your time. We all understand time is the one thing none of us will
time
ever get back.
Time is no more currency. I always say it. No more currency.
And you don't want to waste it. You don't want to waste it on somebody who, even though you might love that person, they just might not be in it.
Ready.
Exactly. They may not be ready.
But again, I think in life you always learn from even bad things. Like I tried to hire somebody to, be my assistant, and she was all gung ho about me paying her a certain wage, and like, I was like, no, this is a trial error. You work for a week, and I'll pay you this amount. And she was like, well, if I'm doing all this, blah blah blah, this will give you blah 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 clients, and I get people on your calendar. I think I should be paid this. And then it's like, whoa, it's not even that. We're not even there yet.
Yeah.
And I had to kind of let her, be her.